all the work.
So she's good.
All right, you guys, we are live. I know. See, this is what happens when you meet friends and you build up a conversation, and it just keeps going. So thank you so much for hooking up, Sean.
Okay,
I'm serious about
this. That's
the love aspect of the life.
Well, this is life, love, and the grind. So we need all three.
Yeah, you got the life going, you got the grind going. Now you need to get the lady life.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we can make this happen. Well, thank you, Candace, and thank you, Bill, for joining us today. This is a very special podcast that we're doing. We just want to hear about you, what it is that you do. The tagline for the show is called "What Even Is ... right?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit.
We're going to talk about these countywide positions that maybe no one really knows that much about, but at least they have an opportunity to get to know the people running for it, which is important because, like, a lot of Democrats like to vote for the people more than the positions. So,
well, I do want to know about the position, so let's talk about that too. But what makes you guys interested in this position to begin with, and what is it?
Okay. Yeah. So it's a very fair question. Like when I'm canvassing, one of the main questions I get is, what does this position even do? Right. So I'm running for clerk of the circuit court for DuPage County. And what this position does, it's really the record keeper for the courts. Okay. So anytime a new case is filed, any documents that are filed, this is a position that kind of keeps track of all of those. It also maintains all the evidence for the trials that are happening or collected for the courtrooms. It's also a place where you go and pay a lot of your civil fines, so traffic tickets, things of that nature. So besides just being a record keeper, it's also a big revenue generator for the county. So that's a little bit about the position. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, there was another part that, is very close and dear to my heart. You guys actually do child support as well.
Right. So we help facilitate all of that, making sure that people are paying what they're supposed to be paying, calculating that, and making sure people are getting what they're supposed to get.
Yeah. Shout out to the single moms out there.
Yeah.
This is the lady that you gotta look out for.
For Women's Month.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And International Women's Day was on Sunday.
Yes, it was. What a fantastic day. I don't know if you guys saw this. There were movements all across the world. Everybody was coming together. I mean, I get goosebumps every single time I think about it.
Me too.
This is no, but honestly, this is what drives the women movement forward. We're all feminists at heart. We're feminists outside, and then now we're feminists internationally, right? So that's the cool part about it.
Well, not only what drives the women movement, but what propels it up is women in power and women in successful positions. Now we're going to turn over to Bill, a man who's maybe going to be in power and
totally bring down the conversation.
We don't matter. Trust me, Bill. I get it. We don't matter. If women run the world, I'm not even going to pretend like they don't. So
to go back to the original question, I'm running for county auditor, and that might seem like a very obscure position. It is. It has the smallest staff and the smallest budget of any of the countywide offices. But I hope to persuade you this evening why it has potential to be extraordinarily important for having the county run well.
What does an auditor do?
Okay. Well, there's different kinds of auditors, and I think it's very important to draw a distinction between an elected auditor and what might be an auditor in a corporate setting. The elected auditor, there's a very long Illinois statute. It's not that long, but there's a statute that defines the duties.
Is it longer than my CVS bill? That's all that I care
well,
about.
maybe. So the auditors to maintain a continuous audit of the operations and the finances. And that's an exact quote from the statute. And the phrase operations is really important there because it's not just about the numbers. It's not just looking at the spreadsheets. It's not just making sure things balance, but it's making sure that the operations are run well. Now, I'm way older than all of you, and you may not, but there was an ad campaign long ago by a German company, BASF, which said, we don't make the products you use. We don't make the products you buy. We make all the products you use better. So as auditor, my job the auditor does not deliver services to the public. I don't record deeds. I don't keep court records. I don't keep child support. But the auditor is supposed to analyze, audit, review all of the departments and make sure they're running efficiently, make sure they're running transparently, and make sure they're giving fair value back to the community for our tax dollars. So my role as auditor is to be an advocate for good government. And to do that, you have to be a Democrat who believes in government first. But then I want to be efficient because that way then people will see they're getting something good for their money.
Yeah, so it's kind of like process improvement and making sure that you're doing your due diligence as a taxpayer and your revenue is being used in the proper areas. How does one get a hold of your findings, like, or previous findings as far as an elected auditor goes? I mean, if I'm me, I know where my tax dollars go for most of the time, right? But once it goes to a particular organization, how does it get used? How does it get utilized? Is it maximizing the amount of throughput on that side? Is it really benefiting maybe the mental health cases that we have going, maybe towards some of the other programs that we have?
See, that's going to require making strategic decisions on where to focus the resources. What do we look at? When the incumbent took office over 10 years ago, he did a couple of good things. He put the checkbook online, but then he stopped. He hasn't done anything more to improve transparency in a long, long time. So we can make, I would intend to make available the internal audit reports available to the public, available to the other offices, but you got to work with the other offices because you don't necessarily want to expose things that have security issues, or so there are concerns about that. But that's why we have to collaborate. So I go look at the clerk of the court's records, and make suggestions, but they don't have to take them.
Be careful, Candace.
That's right.
He's coming for you.
Well, no, I'm totally on your
I like
side.
suggestions. I'm always open to them.
This is,
I'm totally on your side.
That's right.
yeah, no, you're obviously just looking at the process and making things better, small tweaks, right?
Unless there's a big problem, and that's hey, folks, there's a big problem here.
Exactly.
Mhm.
It's that monitor and adjust aspect of it. So you're going to monitor, and then you would be doing that adjustment.
Right.
So no, that's a fair response.
So let's talk about how you got to where you're at. Why run for a countywide position in DuPage County?
Sure. So to know why I'm running, you have to know a little bit about where I came from and why I'm doing this.
Who are you, Candace?
That's right. So I grew up in a city called Cleveland Heights, Ohio. So it's a suburb of Cleveland on the east side. It was actually a very unique experience growing up. It was a very diverse community where diversity was very much celebrated. I was actually in the minority in the community that I grew up in. And besides like celebrating diversity, one of the things that we were taught a lot was if resources are available to you, then it makes a difference, right? The more resources that you have, the more knowledge that you have about what you're trying to achieve, the more able you're to do that, right? I grew up one of 6 kids, and my mom spent a lot of time going to night school to get her degree. She spent about a decade going to night school. And I remember that as a little kid, dropping my mom off and she worked full time, dropping her off, picking her up from school with my 5 siblings. My mom instilled, I know it's women's month, but my mom really instilled
Sure.
so yeah,
Best time as ever to
That's
talk
right.
about women in power.
Exactly.
this very strong work ethic in me where, it's never enough. You keep striving to do better, to help more. So I graduated college. I went to Miami University in Oxford, Ohio, with my degree in political science and minor in criminology. And I, then worked for a while in Memphis, Tennessee. And I worked for a company, Memphis, Tennessee. I worked at FedEx Forum, and it was built in one of the poorest zip codes in the United States. And often there were chances, we had a large staff, but didn't work very many hours. So use hours as a way to get people to motivate to do work, as opposed to just appreciating people working for you. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, it does.
And I'd always known that I wanted to go to law school, but after so much of that, it was time, right, to make a difference. So I moved up to Chicago. I went to John Marshall University or John Marshall Law School, graduated my JD, worked for a firm. But during that time, expungements have been a big part of why I'm running for this, and helping people clear a pathway to jobs, housing, things of that nature. So I've done a lot of community service projects along the way. I've worked at the domestic violence clinic at 555 West Harrison, helping people get orders of protection, things along those natures. But why this position specific for me and how it relates back to growing up is the clerk of the circuit court's office in counties around us does community outreach that we're not doing here through this office. So Cook County every year holds an expungement summit, does amnesty days, things that really improve the lives of our community members. And I want to bring those community outreach efforts here to DuPage through this office, provide those resources. Because once those resources are available, it really helps with, like I said, jobs and military entrance and military rank and things like that are really important to me. And right now we just don't have that here in DuPage.
Do we have those resources to bring a program like that and put it in place?
So the first,
Maybe this is a question for you, Mr. Auditor.
the first expungement summit not being held through the clerk's office is being done this year in April. Okay. And I
Which
plan-
we're very excited about.
Yeah, so exciting,
Yeah.
right? So I volunteered for the one in Cook County, and the number of attorneys that show up to volunteer for this, and the number of people that show up to have their records cleared because they have a real understanding of what this means is almost overwhelming to see. And so the fact that these groups have come together to put on this program to help people expunge their records is really a very big deal. And so I think that our government and our local government should be doing that for our community members. Why wouldn't we want people to have a clear pathway for jobs? Like, doesn't that make sense? If people can work, there's more tax dollars, right? Like, why aren't we doing this? And why are we fining people on top of fines, on top of fines, on top of fines when they can't even pay the original fine? That makes a little sense, right? So having programs that can really help our members of our community is what led me here today.
Oh, that's a fantastic response.
That's a great answer.
I really like
love
where
that.
you kind of tied it in with your background. So just expanding on your background, what brought you even to Illinois to begin with?
So I was looking for law schools,
Okay.
and John Marshall was a good fit for me. So John Marshall is kind of known as like the working man's law school, right?
Yeah.
And I had a very fortunate experiences while I was there. I ended up clerking for a federal judge. So I got to see how the federal judiciary kind of works and what the expectations were there. I was on moot court. I did law review. I did all the things that you're supposed to do in law school. But that's kind of why I wanted to be able to work and go to law school at the same time, which is what I did.
Okay. Any conflict of interest having that legal background? And where do you practice? Maybe I should ask that.
That's very fair.
Let's just start there. What do you do? Where do you practice? Tell me a little bit about what your current bread and butter is.
Yeah. So I'm a department head for the firm that I work at downtown. It's one of 3 of the revenue generating departments for the firm. When I started with the firm back in 2016, it went from a department that wasn't really tracked in terms of revenue and is now doing very well. It's thriving. And I'm really proud of how much we've grown and the work that I've put into that. I oversee a team of attorneys and other staff members throughout the firm. And we handle primarily personal injury, workman's compensation claims, medical malpractice, social security, disability.
Okay.
Spend a lot of time working with unions. So I go to a lot of union events, and love it. I mean, I really love the work. But I think that management experience and that legal background. So part of the job is I have to access clerk of the circuit courts throughout the United States based on the cases that we're handling throughout the United States with other counsel. And that job has made me understand better how we can improve the systems for the attorneys that use the clerk of the circuit court's office, because a tremendous amount of legal assistants and attorneys access this department. So I think that my legal background, there's no conflict really of interest here.
Okay.
But the legal background actually,
That's good to know.
yeah, things make me uniquely qualified for this position because I understand as an attorney what you're looking for when you're going to this website and how to get that information quickly. The website right now is beautiful. It's very uniform between all the parts of the county, but it's not easy to navigate necessarily. And so modifying that, change that around, I think my legal experience has allowed me to know better how to do that.
If I could just take a deep dive into your brain and just ask you how you can make a website easier to use, I will definitely love that, because no matter which website
Can help
I
us
go
with Life
to,
Loving the Grind.
honestly, I'm in IT, right? So lifelovingthegrind.com for sure, for the rest of you guys who are out there listening. No matter what you do, you can never put every single thing on the front page and make it accessible and make it
That's true.
imaginative, right? But that's fantastic. You touched on a couple different things. You touched on being having that financial background, how you're going to try to maximize just for your law firm what you're doing. But you also have that as part of your role, right? You're going to be the financial officer.
Right. Right. So this is a revenue generating department. And one of the things that people in other counties or other counties have found successful is new ideas and how to reach our younger population to get them to pay their fine, text messaging, things of that nature, to really increase the revenue that's coming in to make sure people are paying their fines on time.
So tickets and all those
Yeah.
fines.
That's right.
I know.
Yeah,
We're gonna
Lord
have
knows
to-
Sarah's got probably 200 hidden in her glove box.
No, I do things by the book. Through
So-
and through.
One of my favorite things about this new, blue wave, they want to call it in DuPage, is not only do we have so many candidates running, but we have so many almost overqualified candidates. And that's kind of what's such a, exciting thing to see with such diverse backgrounds, So to kind of touch base with you now, Bill, is just
Okay.
what
Well,
I know you have a history of politics and you've been in the game for a while. So
I'll
where
tell
did
how
you
I
get
got
started?
here. I'll tell
Yeah.
you how I got here. Well, I grew up in Woodridge. I was one of the first graduating classes at Jefferson. I was in the first class to graduate from Jefferson. I then went to Downers Grove South. I'm also one of 6 children. My mother earned her college degree after all 6 children were born. My mother went to law school after all 6 children were born. She became a lawyer and opened her office in Downers Grove in the late 70s. I graduated from law school in 84. I joined her firm. We've been white and white now for 35, 37 years. And she's always been the senior partner. I've always been the junior partner. So I have almost 40 years of working with women in authority where they have the authority. It hasn't been
His mom in authority. Oh my god.
it hasn't been
Sorry, Mom.
always smooth, but I'm still there and I'm happy. My wife's a very accomplished, very successful attorney. She's more meticulous than I am. I'm more creative than she is, but she's a very successful attorney. Our daughter is an engineer and a physics major. I spent my entire life surrounded by strong, competent women to fit into the Women's Day theme. And it's never been a problem. It's like, well, of course, women are people too, and they're equally qualified. And I've just accepted that as just part of who and what I am. But anyways, and more on as to why the role of the auditor, I was elected to the school board in District 99, Downers Grove South, Downers Grove North. I did that many years ago. In my opinion, it could be, there's always room for improvement, but it's a well-run district. It's efficient. It's transparent. It gives good education back. I saw a good government in action.
Mhm.
I then served on the Downers Grove Village Council for 4 years, and shout out to the village. The village of Downers Grove is well run. They make mistakes, but not many. And for the most part, it's efficient, transparent, gives value back. And last summer, I was talking to various people, and I was looking at election results, and I thought, there's a really good chance that Democrats are going to take control of the county board this time around. And then we're going to have to run things. December of 2020 is going to be way harder than between now and November of 2020.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of experience in both helping governments run and seeing really good staff run their governments well. So I thought, I got to get into this because I want to be part of the team with the Democratic majority to, as auditor, I can't tell them what to do, but I can offer advice to everybody. And I have Republican friends who say, oh, we're going to get crushed in November of 20, but we're coming back in 22. But the way to stop that is for us to do a good job, to have the clerk of the court run well, to have the recorder of deeds run well. And I'm thinking auditor is a perfect job because I can go talk to everybody and I can bring my experience in good government, my leadership experience. Something I very much enjoyed doing at Downers Grove. I was named as the chair of a citizens review committee that rewrote the comprehensive plan
Really?
for the village of Downers Grove back 2011, 2012. There were 15 people, between 13 and 15 people on the committee. And we won an award as one of the best, for a well-written comprehensive plan. And I brought 15 people together and I got them all to agree. Now, we didn't agree on everything throughout the process,
Of course not.
but at the end of the day, I created consensus.
Yeah.
And I could bring people together. So I can talk quietly to the clerk of the court or the recorder and say, and it has to work because as a lifelong Democrat, I don't want us to lose back power in 22 because we didn't do it well. That between 20 and 22, I want us to do a good job. So that's my passion is, in auditing. I was like, what a boring bit. Actually, it isn't. It's going to be how to make everybody do their jobs better.
So touch on a little bit of the mayor of Downers Grove, right? You had a position with the mayor.
I was mayor pro tem.
Okay, yeah.
The deputy mayor.
So how did you get into that? That was a unanimous. They all voted on that.
Yeah.
The board voted on that.
Okay, just to back up, just to give you more context. In a school board setting, the 7 board members choose the president from amongst the 7.
Okay.
The mayor is elected
Mhm.
as an independent position. And then the mayor recommends the mayor pro tem, and the council has to ratify that decision.
Right.
And I was chosen to be the mayor pro tem for Mayor Martin Tully after David Olson went to the Illinois General Assembly. And the mayor pro tem's job is to fill in when the mayor's not available. The best part of the mayor pro tem job is every Friday morning, the mayor and I would meet with the village manager, and we would talk about what's happening in the village. And they would ask us advice. Now, obviously, they're paid professionals. I've gotten tremendous respect for public service staff. That they take a lot of abuse that's totally unwarranted.
Oh my gosh, you are absolutely right. I mean, I see that on the village board here in Lisle. Some of the back and forth, some of the responses that the village staff receives, it's unheard of. And these are paid professionals that have laid out their entire career to serve communities, to serve the public. And it's not a short-term election. It's not like anything that is going to be turned over in a matter of 4 years. These are people that are building their professional development skills through and through. And Downers Grove is phenomenal at that. I mean, you have a very, very great staff there. So does Lisle. Shout out for the Lisle, Village of Lisle staff.
I miss those Friday morning meetings when I would meet with the mayor and the village manager and assistant village manager, and we would talk about, and all kinds of things which are decided but not through a council vote, we talk about. And I very much miss that. But that's but that brought me a lot of experience. And that's what I would want to bring when I'm working with my fellow countywide electeds who I'm co-equal with, and the county board who has no obligation to listen to me unless I bring them good ideas.
Yeah. Well, you're close with, the incredible Liz Chapin, who we've had on the show a couple of times. And she's been kind of the longest reigning member on the board.
Trifecta victories, 3 victories. I was a campaign manager.
Exactly.
So you kind of have seen you've seen the shift from the start, from like 2012 on to now 2020, where this is a pretty blue county. Yeah. How are we going to handle it? How is this county going to handle all these Democrats? Is it going to turn into that?
Sean, is just one
scary
wave
Cook County?
after another wave after another wave after another wave, right?
Yeah.
We just keep building up and we keep building up through and through. But with you guys coming through, what are some of the heated, contested issues, I guess, as far as bipartisanship goes? Because this is, you guys are running for DuPage County and you're running with the blue background, right? So
and why does that matter?
What makes you blue, and why do
we have to declare parties in these kind of positions, right? I mean, what does that have to do?
You're helping everybody, and you're auditing everybody. Why would it make you
You're auditing everybody.
Pretty much,
except
right?
you, though.
Well, if I get there.
So tell us, so why do they have these,
Well, that's by Illinois statute. It's been that way.
Yeah.
I took local government in law school, and I clerked as a law clerk at the Village of Downers Grove before I got out of law school. It's by statute. Also, what's really different about this time is the Republicans have had monolithic control essentially forever. Actually, not essentially, literally, since the Civil War. And this is the first time, and they haven't had to compromise. They haven't had to compromise. And now they're going to have to. There's an article in the Daily Herald in January that the county board chair was frustrated by the lack of cooperation. But when he said cooperation, I think he really meant obedience. That
what issue
parents say,
was...
why don't you cooperate? You know what I mean? Why don't you do what I say? Because he's been used to snapping his fingers. It happens that he just dictates what's going to happen.
Okay.
And now the women on the county board are saying, oh, no, I don't agree with that. Which means we need co-equal members of the county board to reach a legitimate, genuine consensus. And that's uncharted waters for DuPage County.
So how are you going to handle the division?
It's the second question that I get. Why does it matter when I'm knocking at the doors? Why does it matter that it's a Democrat or Republican? You're keeping track of the records, right? And for the Supreme Court and the appellate courts, they get to choose their clerks, right? So it's a little different system above this level, right? But why it matters is because how you're using the funding and the resources of that department, right? So there's a Republican incumbent there now for the programs that I want to help with, the expungement summons, amnesty days, things like that really gets out the information related to the court resources. That's not doing that. And when you have a Democrat in place that really wants to make sure that the community members has access and meaningful access and fair access and, really help improve the lives, that's why it matters, right? So like most things as to when it comes down to funding and how you're going to use the resources that are available to you. and I'd like to use the clerk's resources to help our people.
Yeah. Seems pretty simple to me. Sadly, it's not so apparent across the board in DuPage County that you would think that people just should help their constituents, help the county. You know, this is one of the greatest counties.
Candace and I are running for very different positions in terms of what our day-to-day lives would be like after we're elected. I have a very small staff. Candace has a very large staff. She'll be essentially an executive officer. She'll be the CEO. That's the analogy.
Of the department.
It doesn't fit entirely, but it's pretty close to being the CEO of several hundred employees. I think I have like five employees. So human resources doesn't matter to me because I have 5 employees, and we will be a team. Okay, Candace will have a staff, and then, and with all the layers, and and that's so my day-to-day life would be very different than hers. So the reason we needed the Democrat is different. Because it's a very different setting.
But they're both full-time positions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's a lot of responsibility, though, to have a big staff like that.
Are you guys still going to be practicing and doing whatever you do while holding this office?
I might keep my law license and put just a few hours a weekend, but I won't be able to. It's a full-time job.
Yeah, it's a full-time
Yeah.
thing.
I'd certainly keep my law license. I worked very hard for that.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be working at the firm that I work at anymore.
Okay.
But to speak to how big the team is and why I think that I could do that, right? Because it's a lot of money and a lot of people.
Mhm.
A lot of livelihoods. Overseeing a lot of livelihoods.
Yeah.
How much money?
Yeah.
We talked about how many
It's in between
people?
$7 to $9 million in terms of the budget, but in terms of revenue, it generates about 17 million around
Okay.
there.
Very cool.
Yeah. So prior to law school, like I said, I worked for a company in FedEx Farm, right? And the company is a company that's nationwide. Okay. So I spent a lot of time traveling all over the United States at different sports and entertainment properties. I actually just have really good timing in sports. So I was in Memphis when Derrick Rose was playing for the University of Memphis.
Oh, okay.
And I actually started with the company when I was 16 at Jacobs Field.
Do you know who Derrick Rose is?
Not particularly.
We're sports fanatics over here, which is great.
No, we're clearly.
I was a hockey guy, but go on. I know who Derrick Rose is.
Maybe by face. Okay.
Yeah, and I started with the company at Jacobs Field in Cleveland, which is now Progressive Fields. And do you know baseball? So if I say Albert Bell,
Just keep going with it. Absolutely.
My
I'm
first
good on
ball
my guys.
that
Of course I
ever
know
got
sports.
was from Manny Ramirez. That's such a big thing.
Okay.
Okay, but
That's great.
as part of that company, I managed teams of over 100 people. So I was sent to different locations throughout the United States to work at very large events. And one was here, one of the properties I worked at was here in Chicago. And I needed so many people. I had to bus in staff from Milwaukee, from our sister property in Milwaukee, because I just needed that many people to work because the event was so large. And the departments that I ran were large revenue generators for the company, so in the multi-millions.
Mhm.
So I have the HR experience to do this job. I've done firings, I've done hirings, I've done promotions, I've done, everything related, payroll, everything related to HR that I think would be a good fit. Manage different departments within a department.
Like I said, it's great to see actual experience coming into these
So that's why I couldn't do that job.
positions. Yeah, I mean these are
That's why I
big
have 5
positions, and it's so important. I like to stress the importance of experience because a lot of people, and I give them credit. We love people running for office. We love people jumping, putting their hat in the ring. But at the same time, it's there's something that speaks volumes when you have experience. You've kind of had a background that can kind of lead up to these positions because they are pretty big positions in a very successful county.
And having you guys there, standing on behalf of Democrats, you guys are at the forefront making decisions, right? You're setting up programs, you're setting up initiatives, and you're holding all the rest of the departments accountable, at least on paper. Who knows whether they'll choose to do it or not, but that's a whole another story. But having that kind of forefront and visibility, is there anything that you guys see as an issue or any kind of contention kind of going forward in how it is that you guys will be doing your job?
Well, I think my job will be more political than Candace's job because she will be in charge of the clerk of the court.
Yep.
Whereas I will be interacting with probably not literally 50-50, but pretty close the Democrats and Republicans. And once I've observed, and so somebody I will go to for advice is Jean Kazmarek, because she's done a fabulous job as the county clerk. And the Republicans don't like her there. They don't want her to succeed because they still
I think they're
believe,
intimidated.
well, they still believe it's
They're
their
scared
turf.
of it, yeah.
She's taking their turf away,
Mhm.
and they want their turf back.
Yeah.
So it's going to be navigating that. Well, but I've experienced when I was on the school board. I worked with Republicans. A lot of it was a nonpartisan election, but you always knew how people voted. And the village council, the mayor was Republican. And while we disagree about many things at the village level, we actually work together quite well. So part of the challenge that I see in December of 2020 is getting the previous Republican, what's left of the Republican majority, which may not be a majority, to accept that they have to deal with us as equals.
Yep.
And that we don't get to boss them around, but they don't get to boss us around either. And that we need genuine consensus on how to run the county well to keep up our high quality of life. I see that as really the biggest challenge is take all my people skills to, get everybody to.
Yeah, going in there with energy on every single day. I mean, that takes a toll, but you guys have had so much experience before you that you can kind of take each day, any adversity that's thrown at you, I think, with a swinging bat. So kudos to you guys. I mean, I'm sure you guys get a lot of this adversity and pushback at doors. So let's talk about your campaign
running
trail.
for office. A shout out to Sarah Sadat, who was the top vote getter in Lisle, coming up on a year in April. I myself got elected in 2017. We know how crazy politics is. We know how much time and effort it puts into running for office, but I've never ran for a countywide position. Where do you even begin?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's right. You go everywhere. We're out canvassing all the time. We're out at the train stations. Wherever we can meet the most amount of voters, that's where we're trying to be. Right?
Do you have a strategy of the northern part to southern to east to west? Do you have a strategy, or is it just kind of?
It's
It's huge. It's a
Right.
big county. Yeah, they have a million people.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
It's
I really, when people ask me what's it like to campaign? Okay. I compare it to having a child. Like before you have a child, and you'll know one day, but before you have a child, what they say to you is, you're going to be tired. Okay. Your life is going to change. It's never going to be the same. Like, just make sure that you're really into it. If this is what you're choosing to do. And you're like, okay, I'm going to have the child anyway. And then you have the child and you're like, I'm so tired. Life is never going to be the same again. It's changed me completely.
So you're saying don't have a child. Okay, let me write that down.
Right. So where do you start? Yes, there's certainly certain precincts that you target, right? Like you get your list, you figure out where's going to be the most beneficial precincts to go to, right? And who to visit, because those are the votes that you need. But you really try to canvass and get the whole county because you want the whole county behind you, right? So we do that. We canvass,
And you guys are only targeting Democratic voters because it's a primary, yeah.
Right.
So it
So
is
why
a
do you
little
do
bit
that?
different.
Why do you only target Democratic voters? For the people that are listening, I mean, you don't go and knock on every single door.
They're the only ones that vote in the primary.
right.
Republicans won't vote in the primary. Now, after March 17th,
then it's
target everybody.
yeah.
Right.
Totally different thing. See, I feel very fortunate in this regard because I ran for office in 9 for myself, and I was elected to the school board. I ran for office in 15. I was elected. I was Liz Chaplin's campaign manager in 12, where she set a record for votes for pennies spent per vote, a tiny budget and a huge vote total.
Yeah.
Which is very impressive. I calculated, oh my goodness, that's amazing. 12 cents a vote. That's like
She hit every door, every door, and that was her strategy.
16. I've helped at state rep races, so I know the grind.
That's
but what I would say though, when you're running countywide, you can't knock every door.
Right.
There's too many. That's why one thing that I think, and I'll make this point, that I will be a huge asset to the rest of the Democratic ticket if I'm on the ballot in November, because I have a full modality of campaigning. I'm doing door knocking. We've been hitting the train stations. I have a professional website with a professional photograph of me. I'm running Google ads. I have Facebook ads. I've done some direct mail.
Ooh.
And not a lot because I don't have much money.
Yeah.
and when I was helping Liz, it's like, well, how do we get this? When she ran for state rep, we spent $11,500. Her opponent spent $115,000. So how to stretch those dollars? I have experience doing that, and I've been in the doldrums, the down days of campaigns where you think you can't go another day, and then you just have to. I've been there before.
Don't even go there.
But I've been
because
there before.
Let me tell you,
And I survived.
the winter has been so kind on you
Yeah,
guys.
this has
I
been a-
am-
yeah.
I am
Oh, there have been other
I'm
winners.
like super,
Yeah.
I'm super
I'm not
upset.
There
I'm
have been-
super upset that you guys are door knocking.
Yeah.
And
60 degrees.
And
Yeah.
There
it's
have
like
been other
60
winners.
degrees out there.
I've been out to
Yes.
other winners.
Yeah.
So
It's been very kind of weather guys. We really
Yeah.
appreciate
When in 2018, Liz Chapman was the highest vote getter in the county, among Republicans and Democrats, which is
Great
pretty,
candidate to work for.
which is pretty amazing. Yeah,
Because he's a great candidate.
yeah, but it is.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, keep
For
going.
countywide, we really depend on precinct committee people, right? They make a huge difference for us.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And like you win at the door.
Yeah.
And the PCs that are going door to door on our behalf and saying, this is what we think, and this is you gotta vote. And like
Mhm.
it's really the PCs that make such a huge difference, I think, for both of us a lot.
We do.
Well,
We have a
yeah.
really good one here in 16. I mean, she's amazing. She's been here for a very long time. She makes sure that, she helped me out during my campaign, getting as many votes out as we can. But yeah, PCs are a huge, huge important part of this. But obviously, candidates showing up at the door will surpass any
Yeah.
interaction that more than PCs. can
That's the
bring.
power of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
I think we have that boots on the ground mentality where we
Right.
really want to go hit doors from
Right.
the state level to the lower levels to the county levels. I mean, we really put the work in, and that's kind of ingrained in our Democratic culture. I mean, I don't think it's always been as effective as it has been lately. I mean, because I think truly in 2020 the whole county is going to go blue. Not the whole county, but the county board will go blue. I mean, there's 6 seats up, and it's kind of amazing to see,
We've got a
especially.
great judicial slate going.
Yeah, we
Or-
have great
Yeah,
judges
it's
running.
not literally a slate, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah, we have
the
great
people that
people.
were working together and
Mhm.
making sure that they're putting their
Yeah, great
being
people in
in-
County Board
yeah.
2 and 6 and 5.
I'm
and,
very
And
excited.
1 and 4 and 3.
and 1, 4, and 3. So 4's got a very
I voted
contested
already,
primary.
so
A lot of good
I
candidates.
actually
Yeah.
voted
Mhm.
at the Village of Downers Grove early. Great setup. I mean, it was electronic, so they didn't have. It was really easy to do. It was on a tape.
Right.
That setup was fantastic. Again, shout out to Jean in every single
Sure,
way
yeah.
possible. But March 17th, get out, go vote. If you can vote
Yeah.
beforehand, go vote
Go
beforehand.
early vote. It's so easy. I
Right.
just voted last week. It was 10 minutes. I
And I've
always
been
get mad.
carrying this like little blue sticker that I've had, and it's worn off at this point. But there's 3 different languages on here, and things like this just kind of bring a smile to my
Mhm.
face, right? Not only did I vote, but I'm voting. It's saying that I'm voting in different languages. How cool is that?
Yeah.
See, we
Yeah.
can't compliment Jean Kasmarek enough
Yeah.
for all
Mhm.
that she's
Yeah.
done.
The fact that she opened the doors to let us stand inside while we waited to file our petitions,
Mhm. Yeah.
no greater gift.
But it is. And she worked hard to win that position, and she put a lot of work into it. And you guys, I mean, it's a lot of work. I always like to highlight how much goes into these races.
Yeah.
Because I worked harder
You know.
after she won.
Yeah, well, that's really when the work begins, is
She
when
should
you
be
get
a role model
elected.
for all of us.
Yeah.
So you have 2 kids. Are the kids on the campaign trail with you?
No,
Are they
they-
helping? Are they
My daughter lives in Northern Virginia, and my son's in college in Montreal.
okay?
So they're not here.
Yeah.
I talk to him every day.
Mhm.
My son especially. He's going to watch this as soon as you post it. I know.
Mhm.
Of course.
Yeah.
So no social media geniuses behind the scenes working on your campaign, right?
Well, you don't need it when you come on Life
I
Loving the
know.
Grind.
That is
That's
true.
right.
This is all you need.
That's true.
Exactly.
How
Uh,
about you, Candace?
So I have 3.
Wait, just like me.
Yeah. That's right. I have a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 1-year-old.
Okay.
When I started this, my 1-year-old wasn't even 1 yet.
mhm.
But we were ready. Like as a family, we were just ready to do this. I have a husband who is a manufacturer rep for the fastener industry, and very supportive of this. And I could not do this without him. I mean, he's with them right now. Maybe.
Yeah.
listen.
Well, behind every strong woman is a strong man. Like to
That's
shout
what
out to
they say.
Raza,
Yeah.
who's out working. But
Right. That's right. But yeah, my 4-year-old she would pass out cards all day if I let her.
Of course.
She's got to go to preschool, but she would rather just go door to door.
Mine was handing out granola
Yeah.
bars.
I mean, how do you say
at the
no?
village hall? It was so cute. But you know what? She wore this cookie costume, and that's what she wanted to do. I was like, sure, girl,
Yeah.
whatever you want to
Exactly.
do, go for it. Obviously, my laundry stalled. Dinner was mostly takeout and like delivery from pizza boxes.
Well, I think that's
but
I think that's a good opportunity for Raza to start cooking and doing more laundry.
If I want to eat, let's not go there.
So-
this is being recorded.
So we're down to the final week. So for everyone watching and who's listening, March 17th is the election date, St. Patrick's Day.
That's right.
Please go and vote early. Go and vote that day before you go out and enjoy St. Patrick's Day. Lord knows I will. It's my favorite holiday. But please go and vote. So what's the final week? What's the week push for you guys other than being on Life, Love, and the Grind, which is really all you
It's
guys need?
the highlight of the week.
That's it.
The highlight of the
is.
week. I mean, there's still a lot more work to be done. So there's
Train
township,
stations.
yeah,
Mhm.
train stations, townships meeting still. There's the
Doors.
Naperville St. Patrick's Day parade.
I heard that the parade got
I-
canceled.
It
You
might
know
have
what?
because
Did it?
Because of
That's
COVID-19.
what I heard because coronavirus.
Right.
I
Everyone's scared.
spoke to one of the organizers at 3:00 today.
Well, don't quote me on it, but I did feel like I just
There's a
heard it
lot
got
of pressure to
canceled.
cancel it.
Yeah.
He said at 3:00 that it was not.
We could just walk down the street without the parade.
Let's
Yeah,
all
have
go
a
to
green
Crown
hat.
Bar instead.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure he has plenty of them. This
Yeah.
is his favorite
This is
holiday.
my holiday. I like it.
This
It's
is
a
his
lot of
national
fun.
holiday. If you could make it.
This
that.
election's actually kind of ruining it for me, but
Hey, now.
No.
No, you're gonna vote, and then you're gonna.
I already
vote, right?
voted. Early voting.
Yeah,
Make sure you
that's
early vote.
That's right.
Vote tomorrow.
But yeah.
No, but it's a serious matter. I mean, I know we make fun of not being able to walk out in a parade and things like that, but we have never seen anything like this as long as I have lived. And obviously, I'm not going to say that,
That's
but
been 20 years.
I want
so
to share
yeah.
an anecdote I read today on Capital Facts. When the Spanish flu, it shouldn't have been called the Spanish flu. In 1919, there was a political parade and rally scheduled for Chicago and Philadelphia. They canceled Chicago. I may not have done exactly right, but they canceled Chicago. They didn't cancel Philadelphia. A week later, the infection rate and the deaths in Philadelphia were through the roof. And that because they had the parade, it just spread the Spanish flu. So I was reading today right now at the state level, there's some pretty strong laws, and the governor may very well say, nope, we aren't having parades, because it really does work to
Yeah.
slow the infection. And the problem is, yes, the deaths are really, really bad, but it's going to be the swapping in the hospitals. There just won't be enough hospital beds,
Mhm.
Right.
and that's just
it's the infrastructure, right? We're not built out.
We're not
cut out.
investing. We're
And-
saving money when we should be spending. So I'm not going to be cutting everything. I'm looking
Yeah.
for value.
Mhm.
Right. No, it's absolutely correct. And our revenue is going to stall, but there's a bigger thing at heart, right? So we
Right.
need to make sure that people are safe. We need to make sure that things are contained and being measured appropriately. Good hand washing techniques. I teach this to my preschool when my daughter was going there. Washing our hands. We keep talking about this stuff, but just really implementing it and really putting it into practice really matters.
And it's
How-
another good reason to early vote, because in
Yeah.
case things shut down more, right?
Yeah. No,
Go
that's a good
now
point.
and get your vote.
And it's so easy. I get mad at all of our apprentices, our union people. It's like, go and vote. It's a laziness to not vote. There's no excuse to not vote because everyone procrastinates, and I don't believe in procrastination because I'm like, if I told you to be here at 3 a.m. tomorrow to get a $5,000 check, everyone will be here at 2:45. You guys just don't find it important, and it is. So go and vote.
I really didn't understand the importance of voting in a primary until I started getting involved in politics. I mean,
Yeah.
you hear about the major elections, right? The presidential elections that come. You don't necessarily hear about why is it so important to vote in primaries? Why is it so important to primaries?
I mean, so you're choosing who you're putting up in November, right? You want to choose the best candidate for your party to put up in November, and it gives you that time from now into November to really be able to canvass and hit as many doors as you can. Be able to really do the outreach that you want to do. Like you, I didn't realize the importance of primaries until I really started getting involved in the party and understanding like the importance of it, getting to really know the players, like even knowing who all of my candidates are right now, really having a sense of their backgrounds and why they're qualified or not qualified. It's made such a huge difference. I mean, I've always voted in general elections, But yes, primaries are a huge deal.
Yeah, and plus it was really nice to see your name. I met you
Mhm.
as
Yeah.
you were casting your ballot.
That's why everyone runs. They just want to vote for themselves. I get it. I'm on to you guys. What about you, Bill? What do you think is the importance of?
Yeah,
And how do we get more people out to vote? How do we get more Democrats engaged to vote?
Oh, at the postcard campaigns. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the postcard campaigns. That's been fantastic. Not only at the local, just the local Democratic offices, we have nationwide campaigns going to make sure that we put a lot more people out there on the streets voting and getting the word out.
Cynthia Barbas puts it very well. What we're really fighting for at this point is the soul of our nation.
Mm.
And I was very fortunate. Candace was there too. A while back, there was a breakfast in Addison Township where Mike Quigley spoke, Raja spoke, and Sean Casten spoke. And Mike Quigley said that what's at stake is whether we believe what Thomas Jefferson wrote, that all people are fundamentally equal. Are women equal people too? We believe it because we're Democrats. Other side, not so much. Are immigrants people? I believe, for me, of course, absolutely. Does it matter what your religion is, what your color is? Are we all created equal or not? And that is really what's at stake, because the Trump version of republicanism says no. Some people are better than others. And some people deserve more than others, and that's what Trumpism is founded upon. So we need to get that message out that what we're really doing is and the Civil War was a reaffirmation. In the Gettysburg Address, Lincoln said that we're basically renewing our vows, like taking your marriage vows again.
Yeah.
We're renewing our vows as to what we did as a country in 1776 and 1787. And today we're being called upon again to renew our vows. Do we believe all of us should be treated as equal human beings? And I strongly believe that. And that's why, and I used to get so angry at the Republicans. And now I have a calmness. I'm running for political office. We need to elect Democrats every office, everywhere, until Trumpism is eradicated. Two parties is good, but for the time being. So I'm doing everything I can. So I'm okay, fine. I'll just turn it off because I'm doing what I can, which is to become an elected Democrat.
Yeah.
In a county that's been Republican forever. And now how we convince people of that, because young people think, well, my vote doesn't matter. That's a very hard, complicated topic that we have to keep fighting.
When you have
Dude, your
5
vote
million young
matters.
people.
Your
Yeah.
vote matters.
Get your
Your
ass out
vote
and vote.
mattered on my campaign. It mattered on Sean's. It matters on
I
everybody's.
was won by 54 votes last time.
Mhm. Yeah.
And 16, not 18. 16.
So what do you see, Candace? Do you see more people do you think they're more fired up? Is this Trump effect working in our favor, or is it working in the Republicans' favor?
I think it's definitely working in our favor. Bill and I do a lot of the train stations together, and people trick me all the time. It's like this fun game for people. I don't understand it, but I'll like have my walk piece to give to them, and they'll be like, "Is it a Republican?" Like expecting me to say yes, and then I say no, Democrat, and then I go, "Oh, I'll take it."
Mhm.
And so now like people are more open and receptive to receiving like the message that we're trying to give them from the Democratic Party, right? I mean, they've had more of a reason to really look at what their values are and how they really should be voting. I mean, Republicans for a long time are just concerned about their checkbooks, right? And the biggest pushback that I get at the door is, but my 401k has never been better. But now, we're going through what we're going through now, and they're having to really re-examine what really matters to them besides just the money aspect. And when you really look at that, when you really take away money off the table, most people are Democrats, right? They want to do better for their community members. They want to help each other out and do better. So I've gotten a lot of positive feedback at the doors, and granted, they are mostly Democrats.
But it's funny when you say that at the
But
train
also at the
station,
train
you don't
stations.
know.
Right.
Yeah.
God bless you for coming. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
And the smiles. And people walk past me in the train station. Oh, you said Democrat. They come back.
Yeah.
And they go, wait, Democrat? I'll take that.
Well, I think there's like a misconception and a myth of Democrats of like people are like nervous and intimidated, but when they kind of get to know us and understand that, hey, listen, we're your neighbors, we have fun, we've had fun barbecues here, and we're just like those everyday people that it's like, yeah, let's go get a drink and talk, and we want all those same things. We want safe schools and safe neighborhoods,
Exactly.
and
Yeah, we talk about equality, but we also talk about building up the equity, right? So we talk about building fair programs. We talk about building fair initiatives, using the money that we're raising and applying it back to the socioeconomic injustices that we have going. So this is absolutely what the democratic value is. Whether you want to call it a democratic value or whether you want to call it an American value, this is for the Americans.
Yeah.
This is for the people that are out there running. So super kudos to you guys for even wanting to do this, and the fact that you have tiny little children.
Mhm.
I'm
Mine
just
are big.
thinking
I have diapers in my car. Should you
Yeah.
just ran to Target beforehand.
next time you definitely got to bring babies. I mean, I'm a huge advocate for babies.
How long can I leave them?
Yeah, right. Be careful what you wish for.
You're right. The next podcast, just for an hour long, just make sure you have a baby. But just to kind of door knock and maybe go out there. When the weather is nice, people don't turn you away from a door because you're carrying a baby. I mean,
That's true. And
Yeah.
I really enjoy showing them what I'm doing. Like
Yeah.
I really enjoy showing them how important this is. Like my daughter will be coming with me to when I go cast my vote.
Yeah.
Because I want her to see it and understand it from a very young age as to why this is important and what I'm
And-
doing for her, really.
And when you're door knocking or like when you were getting your petition signed, right? To show that you can cold call at a door and ask them to sign a petition, that was like the most eye-opening experience for two of my daughters. I mean, they were like, "Oh, Mom, you can really talk about yourself and really get them to like do something for you." I'm like, "Yes, now watch. If you can give them to host your yard sign and give you $1 for your campaign, that's how you know you got a vote." Right?
I wish more people wore pants at the door because there's a lot of people that open the door without pants. So
Oh, Lord.
Oh my.
You've never had that?
No.
Neither have
I've
I.
had a lot.
Oh,
It's
wow.
maybe the warm weather. I don't know.
Well, it's
You know
60
what?
degrees
I've
in
usually
February.
opened the door with like -6, -10
Yeah,
degree temperature,
exactly.
so
Yeah.
maybe not.
Yeah, but no, it is. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of doors.
Yeah.
But it's only 1 week left, so at least you guys.
And it's been a lot of fun doing it.
which is good. Well, you guys have had a good team. It seems like
Yes.
there is a very big what I'd like to see.
Cohesion.
The cohesion.
Yeah.
I like to say maybe not a team, but the mutual
That's my
respect.
word. Cohesion's
among-
my word.
Well, I'm stealing it. So I like the mutual respect across all the races and kind of seeing everyone supporting each other and knocking together. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all Democrats.
We're
We
the
should
same team. We're the same
we
team.
should be
Yep.
we should be more supportive of each other. And if there are factions that aren't that, I don't ever support it because it's not right.
Well, I want to give a shout out to Sheila Rutledge, who took my awesome photograph, and I've had great fun saying to people, "I don't look this good in real life." I show them my card,
Yeah.
and I've gotten a lot of, and it's been fun. I went out Sunday with Liz Shepland and Arlene Kondorsky, and I actually had a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, a lot of walking, but a lot of fun.
Mhm.
I really did.
And that's kind of the whole point of it. You can have fun giving back and running for office. And, I mean, there is something fun with engaging community and
Right.
getting involved and meeting your neighbors.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what we all are. We're all just neighbors in DuPage County. So
And
kind of a fun thing.
I will say for me, this whole experience, I'm just so grateful of all the community programs that it's connected me to that I had no knowledge of before I started doing this, right? I worked as a sexual assault advocate for 5 years in Ohio and here in Chicago. And when I moved to DuPage, I kind of lost that because I didn't understand like the programs that were out here to do that.
Mhm.
And by campaigning, I've been connected to some of those programs again, things that like are so meaningful to me. We talked about the Lyle Women's Club. Like I wouldn't have learned about that if I hadn't been doing that. And for me, I'm so grateful for this whole experience because it's really shown me what our community really has to offer. And it's just a blessing, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some stealth warriors and the Lyle Women's Club. I swear to God, like they have made our community so much better. They have pulled together different things out of their heads that I could not even imagine possible. And these women have been going through this for so long. And I'm so glad that you came out to the Lyle Women's Club meeting this past month, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fundraising, awareness.
Great hats.
Great hats, the Lyle Library. I mean, there's a lot of good things. We also have a Garden Gate event coming up. So yeah, we really, really shine when it comes to things like that. But yeah, Lyle Women's Club is just one of them. And it's one of the organizations out of the greater Chicagoland area. I mean, Hinsdale has another one.
Right.
Downers Grove, Naperville has another one. How would you, I guess the best way is, how would you build more equity into situations like that, visiting the rest of the women's clubs and making sure that they're actually reaching out to you and finding out more about these programs?
Like more about the programs at the clerk's office?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think a lot of that falls on me if I'm elected to reach out to them and to, especially like schools and things of that nature, things I think are really going to make the courthouse at a very young age welcoming to people. Because I want people to understand that, the courthouse is a government function that you're welcome in, not something to be afraid of or, feel like you don't have the right to access, right? So I think it's really the job of the clerks to go out to the different programs to like really target people to make sure that they understand what's happening in the courthouse so that when you need those resources, you're not afraid to go to it. Yeah, so I think that would fall on me, on my position.
That's fair. Education is key, especially when, all you're going through, especially when you're going through a lot of different things in your life. The only thing, if it's a piece of paper or if it's a website or if it's an ad, that's the only thing that comes out to you and you just gravitate towards that. So education, material, things like that would be great to kind of implement in whoever gets elected.
Yeah.
And then
I agree.
And hopefully, what is it that we have about 5 minutes. So I just want to make sure that you guys get a chance to talk about your message, getting that out there. Your final thought.
Okay, I'll go first, and then flag me at 2. So,
All right.
I could go for a long time. I just basically want to reemphasize what I said before. I really want to serve in this office to help the entire county run better, knowing that I have no authority to tell anybody what to do, but to facilitate and collaborate with all of the countywide electeds, and there's 8. And the county board, and to say and to push the idea that we will have a mixture of the Democrats and Republicans who have to treat each other with mutual respect. A saying I've always loved: everyone gets a seat at the table, no one gets to own the table. So to make a decision, everyone at the table has to compromise, reach consensus, and agree. And once you agree, that's really what I feel very passionate about right now, is to make government work. And my personal interest in making government work is to make sure that the Democratic majority does a good job. Mm-hmm. So in 22, we can say, keep these Democrats in power. They've been doing it good. And that's really my motivation. So I'll stop there. I think I just listened 2 minutes.
You and I are going to have a sidebar about building bridges.
Yeah, I think for me, what I want people to know is like why I'm doing this is because I really do want to make a change, and I really want to work very hard to make people's lives better, and specifically in our courthouses. I just want it to be a welcoming place, and I want it to be a resource center, really, for people, as opposed to something that's terrifying to go to. And I want to, have the programs here that I think we need, that we don't have through this office. So that's really what I want.
So what do you guys have planned for St. Patrick's Day? You guys having a watch party? You guys doing anything?
No.
Well, a mother of 3 young kids, I guess fun has gone away a long time ago.
Yeah, bedtime at 8.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. So I'm a sports fan. I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can tell. I can tell.
We know we are, obviously.
So I watched the Cleveland Indians lose the World Series in 1995. Okay. I watched it all the way through. And for me, it's just easier on days like this to really get into work, get back into my family, really see how it's going. Watch parties, I'll certainly be checking in to see how things are going along the way. But we'll be out in the morning at least, helping people with votes too.
Definitely.
So,
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sure I'll be somewhere helping someone, so we'll be doing something.
Yeah.
I've hosted numerous parties at my house, and I wanted to cook food. I make great pasta sauce, but my wife said no, our house isn't in good enough shape, and we don't have time to clean it up. So no. And there's so many different people in so many different places. I just want to go someplace. I might just go to someplace. We reserved a small room in Downers Grove, and we might just stay there with a small number of people. Some of my village friends, they wanted to be with me that night. So and then. But in November, hopefully my house will be clean.
Yeah, exactly right.
A house is where you live in. So fine, you find a sock underneath my sofa. That's the reality. That's how.
Talk to my wife about that. She's like, no.
Yeah,
it's true. One day our living room will have something other than toys in it. Yeah.
I want to thank you guys both for coming and telling your stories. And
And good luck.
Yeah, and good luck. And March 17th, make sure you go and vote, but vote early. So go vote
Right.
tomorrow.
Right.
Yes.
I wanted to wait to see what happened this evening before
Yeah.
I vote.
Vote early, vote once.
Yeah.
That's
So,
right.
yeah.
This isn't Cook County. We're DuPage County Democrats.
Yeah.